My name is Mohammed Saleh, and on the show today, politics in Bangladesh has changed forever. Khaleda Zia, the first woman Prime Minister of the country, was laid to rest today with full state honours. While Sheikh Hasina is in exile after her ouster last year, which way will Bangladesh turn in 2026? And the Iranians are out on the streets. The plummeting currency has sparked a cost of living crisis. But the question is obviously this: does the government in Tehran have the answers to the pressing economic woes of the people of Iran? But let's of course start with this big story that's come in from Bangladesh, where Bangladesh's first woman Prime Minister and also the chief of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Khaleda Zia, has now been laid to rest. Amidst heightened security, her funeral was held at the Manik Mir Avenue. The political heavyweight was laid to rest beside her husband, Ziaur Rahman. Now, thousands of people turned for the namaz-e-janaza, the funeral prayer of Khaleda Zia. The chief advisor, Muhammad Yunus, also was there to pay his last respects to Khaleda Zia. He shared some moments with Khaleda Zia's son, Tariq Rahman. Now, Yunus also shared a picture of Khaleda Zia's family and other members of the advisory council standing in a separate area reserved for women. The global leaders expressed their condolences following her death, recalling her as a legacy in Bangladesh's political journey. Now, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was also present. He handed the Indian Prime Minister's letter of condolence to Khaleda Zia's son Tariq Rahman. And just ahead of the funeral, S. Jaishankar also met with Pakistan's National Assembly Speaker Ayaz Sadiq. The picture of the two leaders' meeting was shared by Muhammad Yunus. Now, Zia's tryst with power was full of twists and turns. She was born on the 15th of August in 1946. She married Ziaur Rahman in 1960, who later became the president of Bangladesh. In 1982, she entered into politics after her husband's assassination and became the chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party in August 1984. 1991 was the big turning point when Khaleda Zia became Bangladesh's first woman prime minister in her own right. The next elections proved pivotal. She returned to office in 1996 with a landslide, but then was forced to resign and hold fresh elections under a transitional government. Now, Sheikh Hasina won the elections that followed, but Khaleda Zia staged a comeback in 2001. The next elections were supposed to be held in 2006. Zia resigned, but political turmoil broke out and the polls could not be held until 2008. And this is when the other Begum, Sheikh Hasina's reign began, which lasted till her ouster in August 2024. Now, Khaleda Zia's political rivalry with Sheikh Hasina sent ripples across the globe. It was a defining moment in the political books of Bangladesh that was commonly known as the Battle of the Begums. Now, Khaleda Zia's demise marks the first time in the last 3 decades that Bangladesh's both political heavyweights, Khaleda Zia and also Sheikh Hasina, are out of the picture. It is expected of Khaleda Zia's son Tariq Rahman to carry forth her political legacy. The Tariq Rahman returned to the country after an exile of 17 years, and Tariq landed in Dhaka just days before Khaleda Zia's death and now faces the task of leading the party in the upcoming general elections. Sheikh Hasina's party, the Awami League, has responded to the return of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party acting chairman Tariq Rahman to Dhaka. In a post on social media, the outlawed party shared a video packaged with visuals of Rahman's grand reception and also snippets of articles of violence in Bangladesh. It claimed that what is being witnessed in Bangladesh is not chaos, but actually familiar politics, where it said that violence has become a system extortion a currency and loyalty is bought and not earned. It cited 2001, 2006 as the years that represent the key turning points for the BNP from peak political power to a decade of marginalization and then a sudden fall of the party's rival. Sheikh Hasina, the Post also mentions Hawa Bhavan, the alternative powerhouse of the BNP-led administration in 2001 to 2006. Now, Rahman's nomination papers for the upcoming national elections have been filed. He will contest the Dhaka 17 constituency in the polls scheduled for February. Now, Rahman was arrested during the army-backed caretaker government of 2007 till 2008. After his release, he went to London with his family and did not return to the country until now. Opinion polls project the BNP as the front runner in the elections. And then earlier it was expected that the National Citizen Party, the NCP, formed in the aftermath of the uprising of the student leaders leading the movement, could be an important contender. But their recent alliance with the Islamic Conservative Party, the Jamaat-e-Islami, particularly on a seat-sharing basis, has created a divide among some of the student leaders who had categorically rejected the alliance, with some leaving the party to fight the election independently. The Bangladeshi journalist Salim Samad, in an interview, expressed skepticism about Bangladesh's future if Rahman comes to power.
Bangladesh never had any problem with India, or India never had problem with those military rulers. I mean, it is very strange, but you have to agree that there was no budget cuts, no business treaties were cancelled, or anything. Nothing has changed. If you talk about in the future, it will be very difficult, because Tariq Rahman may ask India, the relationship will be at the heightened relationship, but he will definitely ask for the extradition of Sheikh Hasina. That will be Tariq Rahman's one of the trump cards.
Protests across Iran are gaining momentum. For the third straight day, the Iranians are out on the streets. They're protesting against the soaring inflation, water and power shortages. This comes as Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's regime is reeling from the economic sanctions. Now, in the latest, a government building in the south of Iran was attacked, and according to the Iranian authorities, this building hosts the office of the Fasa governor. And earlier, Iran's prosecutor general had warned that any attempt to create insecurity will be met with a decisive response. The students are also joining these demonstrations. And according to local media reports, protests erupted in 7 key universities, including in places like Beheshti, Khaje, Nasir, Sharif, Amir Kabir, and the University of Science and Culture, the Iran University of Science and Technology, and Isfahan University of Technology. And amidst all the chaos, a video is now going viral on social media. The viral footage is being dubbed as Iran's Tiananmen Square moment. But there are no tanks in the streets. What you're looking at is one individual sitting on the Jamhuri street in Tehran, and across him are about 20 police officers. They're not in a tank, they are in a motorcycle, and they've been stopped by this one single protester who's just sat on the streets. Now, the police are also resorting to the use of water cannons in order to disperse the demonstrators who have gathered in the area. Meanwhile, Raza Pahlavi, who has been living in exile, took to X and called upon all Iranians to join the strikes and protests. He vowed that the street demonstrations have again ignited the promise of a possible national revolution. Now, Raza Pahlavi has called upon the country's diaspora to intensify their activities and their outreach to convey the voice of the Iranian people to the world. Now, the Iranian government has seen its first resignation. The central bank governor Mohammad Reza Farzin, in a partial relief for businesses, the government has decided to drop the penalties for delay in paying taxes. Additionally, the Iranian president Masoud Pezeshkian has also asked his interior minister to have a dialogue with the protesters. Now, the Iranian government has said that it will lend its ear to the problems faced by the people.
The government will listen patiently, even if there are harsh voices, because we believe that our people are patient enough, and when their voices are raised, the pressure that is being put on them is high. The government's job is to hear the voices and help them reach a common understanding to solve the problems that exist in society.
Now, the current protests have spread to other cities such as Isfahan, Shiraz and Mashhad, and it comes at the backdrop of the Iranian rial crashing to 1.42 million for a single American dollar. Just about a year ago, a single American dollar, when converted into Iranian rials, would have fetched you 820,000 rials, and now it's gone up to 1.2 million Iranian rials. The inflation rate in December had jumped to 42%, which is about 1.8% higher than what it was in November. Food prices in Iran have gone up by 72%. Medical items are up by nearly 50% in comparison with last year. All right, we earlier spoke to Mr. Yusuf Jalali, who's in fact tracking the protests very closely. Listening to what he had to say.
The demonstrations entered into the fourth day. It began on Sunday following a significant surge in the dollar rate, which was traded at around 1.45 million to the Iranian rial, and this led to frustration with how the Iranian government manages the economic crisis in the country. Of course, this was not the trigger. Of course, we see a lot of a combination of some other crises that have hit the Islamic Republic, including the reinstatement of UN sanctions on the country, and of course some water shortage, if you remember, and the electricity outages that gripped the country for months. This is the combination and the accumulation of all these frustrations and fury over the mismanagement of the Iranian government, the sitting government of Mr. Pezeshkian.
The leaders and supporters of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf continue to stage protests against the prison sentence of the PTI founder Imran Khan. There's a lot that's happened in the last 24 hours where the sisters of the former Prime Minister were once again denied their chance to meet with Imran Khan at the Adiala prison. This prompted another major sit-in outside of the Adiala prison, and the videos that have been shared by the PTI's Punjab account show what unfolded there. Now, this footage was shared at 1 a.m. local time in Pakistan. It shows the use of water cannons on the protesters, that is, the people who are staging a sit-in outside of the Adiala prison. Now, the opposition alliance, the Tehreek-e-Tahaffuz-Ain Pakistan, has said that the Punjab police resorted to the use of water cannons against innocent and unarmed people. The party also said that Imran Khan's sisters, the senior TTAP and the PTI leaders and workers were all affected by this, what they term was chemically laced water. Now, shortly afterwards, the TTAP said that Imran Khan's sisters, Alima and Noreen and Uzma Khan, and also the party spokesperson, Akhundzada Hussain Yousafzai, and other PTI leaders were arrested by the Punjab police. Now, the images posted by the TTAP show Alima Khan raising her fist in the air as she was driven away in a police van.
आगे जंगल में लाके छोड़ दिए, लेकिन देखें असल में आप पुलिस वालों को देख लें ना, उनका दिल है। आपको पता है ये वाटर कैनन क्यों चलाते हैं? वो इससे चलाते हैं क्योंकि पुलिस वालों का दिल नहीं है अपने लोगों को मारने का। मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, ये जो बच्चे वहाँ पे खड़े हैं पुलिस वाले, उनका कोई दिल नहीं है। एक दिन इंशाल्लाह आप देखना हमारी पुलिस खड़ी हो जाएगी कि हम जुल्म नहीं करेंगे।
Now, the Imran Khan's sisters were denied their request to meet with their brother despite the Islamabad High Court order that was issued on the 24th of March. Now, this order mandates that Imran Khan will be allowed meetings twice a week, that is on Tuesday and Thursdays. The PTI Secretary General Salman Akram Raja argued that this was a basic human right to arrange for meetings with family members for prisoners. And he further criticized the government, saying that it had placed the PTI founder in a solitary confinement cell. Now, Pakistan's former Prime Minister is in prison since August 2023 in over $200 million corruption case. He is also facing some pending trials under the Anti-Terrorism Act related to the protests of the 9th of May in 2023. Now, Guinea's junta chief, General Mamadi Doumbouya, has won the controversial presidential elections. He secured the majority votes according to the initial polling results that were published by the country's election body. Now, the former Special Forces commander, thought to be in his early 40s, seized power in 2021, toppling the then President Alpha Condé, who had been in office since 2010. It was one in a series of 9 coups that have reshaped politics in West and Central Africa since 2020. The provisional results announced on Tuesday showed Doumbouya winning 86.72% of the December 28 vote, an absolute majority that allows him to avoid a runoff. The Supreme Court has about 8 days to validate the results in the event of any challenge. Now, Doumbouya's victory, which gives him a 7-year mandate, was widely expected. Condé and Chelavdalian Diallo, Guinea's long-time opposition leader, are in exile, which left Doumbouya to face a fragmented field of 8 challengers. Now, the original post-coup charter in Guinea, in fact, barred the junta members from running in elections, but a constitution dropping those restrictions was in fact passed in a September referendum. Now, Guinea holds the world's largest bauxite reserves and also the richest untapped iron ore deposit at Simandou. And last month, the authorities launched the gigantic Simandou iron ore mine to widespread anticipation. After years of delay, Doumbouya has claimed credit for pushing the project forward and ensuring Guinea benefits from its output. His government this year also revoked the license of Emirates' global aluminium subsidiary Guinea Alumina Corporation following a refinery dispute, transferring the unit's assets to a state-owned firm. And our correspondent Louisa Olani has been tracking this story very closely for us and has sent us this report. Listen.
With a sweeping 86% victory according to official results on Tuesday, Guinea's junta leader Mamadi Doumbouya emergence as civilian president is devoid of a runoff. Although the political space that led to his victory has been described by opposition leaders and the UN as unfair, noting intimidations and restrictions. Doumbouya will now lead the country for the next 7 years as the country braces for what many see as a pivotal moment in its return to civilian rule. From Lagos, Nigeria, Louisa Olani, WION, World is One.
Now, Zohran Mamdani has said that he will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City in an underground midnight private ceremony. Mamdani, in fact, plans to take the oath of office on New Year's Eve in an abandoned subway station beneath the city hall. It acts as a turnaround for the local 5 train. Mamdani said that the unusual choice of venue for the ceremony is symbolically resonant of the inauguration of a new era. The station was first opened in 1904 as one of the city's 28 original stations and was decommissioned in 1945 as the system was modernized. It was designated a New York City landmark in 1979 and then was put on the National Register of Historic Places in 2004. The New York Attorney General Letitia James has been selected to administer Mamdani's oath of office with a follow-up ceremony on the steps of the City Hall later on, where he will be sworn in by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. And this will be followed by a block party up Broadway. The New York mayor-elect announced more top posts for his incoming administration. On Tuesday, he named Dr. Helen Ortega, who is in fact the CEO of the NYC Health and Hospitals Elmhurst, as his deputy mayor of Health and Human Services.
My sincere hope is that New Yorkers who have long felt on the margins of this city, the homeless veteran straining to survive, the patient searching for the care that they need, an immigrant trying to get by, will feel that they now have leaders in their corner who understand their struggles and care to fight for them. That is the city I want to build, the prosperity I intend to deliver, and the leadership that has too long been lacking.
And the war of words continues between Mamdani and the tech billionaire Elon Musk over the choice to lead the city's fire department. Reacting to Mamdani's appointment of Lillian Bolsillon, who is an openly gay veteran emergency medical services leader, Elon Musk in a post on X said that proven experience matters when lives are at stake. Mamdani hit back, highlighting Bolsillon's 3 decades of experience at EMS. The Yemen civil war has entered into a fresh stage of escalation. Saudi Arabia's bombing of southern port city of Mukalla has in fact sparked regional tensions. What Saudi Arabia, Iran and the United Arab Emirates are doing in Yemen, and how is the regional power play affecting the war-torn nation? Let's break it down for you. The Yemen's civil war is a pretty complex interplay of control and geopolitical influence that moves beyond the country's borders. Saudi Arabia backs a Yemeni military that is supported by local tribal coalition. The Houthis are backed by Iran that control the capital city of Sana'a. And then comes the United Arab Emirates backing to Southern Transitional Council that controls large swathes of territory in southern Yemen. The fresh escalation puts the two Gulf heavyweights against each other. Saudi Arabia's strikes hit weapons shipments from the United Arab Emirates that arrived for Southern Transitional Council. The UAE also maintains a military presence in the area that is controlled by the STC, but it has decided to withdraw the forces after Saudi-backed group issued an ultimatum. In a lightning advance, the STC forces have captured large territory from the Saudi-backed forces. They are now demanding for an independent state in the south. Now, hundreds of people in fact marched down the streets of Aden, and they were holding flags of South Yemen and the United Arab Emirates. The chants and also the slogans called for self-determination and the declaration of a southern state. Now, the war in Yemen began in 2014 when Iran-backed Houthis in fact marched from their northern stronghold of Sada. They took control of Sana'a in a swift advance and then forced the internationally recognized government into exile. Following this, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates entered into a war in an attempt to restore the government. But now, the regional forces that aimed to overthrow the Houthis are up against each other. And tensions continue to mount in Bolivia. The government's decision to abolish fuel subsidies has angered the working class. Sporadic protests are taking place in the capital, and the people are demanding Rodrigo Paz to revoke the decree. Now, Bolivia's capital, La Paz, is witnessing a bitter showdown between the police and the protests. Now, the protests are primarily led by miners who are most affected by the prices that have shot up. The police launched tear gas and rubber bullets on the angry crowds. The clashes, in fact, took place in the city's iconic Murillo Square, where the miners were marching down the streets wearing red helmets, a core symbol of the mining unions.
These police are repressing us. They have no compassion. Children are coming. And the unfortunate thing is that they don't consider the consequences. They are throwing gas at anyone. They don't consider the consequences.
Now, the miners have vowed to continue the fight against the revocation of fuel subsidies. The subsidies kept the fuel prices in Bolivia far below the international levels, and the move has now doubled the gasoline prices and tripled the diesel cost, sparking anger amongst the unions and transport workers. President Rodrigo Paz Pereira has defended the decree as necessary to ease the fiscal pressure on the state. Now, Rodrigo Paz took on the reins of Bolivia in November from the outgoing leftist president Luis Arce Catacura. President campaigned on capitalism for all pitch, and the new president's measures are sparking anger on the streets. And with our wrap on this edition of Race to Power, this is Mohammed Saleh signing off. Thanks for watching.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yowon.com.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy